All right, so this is Tilton Northfield Fire District Commissioners Meeting. Again, it's August 12th, 2025. We're in the Tilton Town Hall downstairs meeting room. It is 5:46 p.m. Those present include the commissioners, Chief, Deputy Chief Alvaney, Deputy Robinson just stepped out to make a phone call. Kathy's here, and Kevin Waldner. First order of business is public comment, members of the district, employees of the district. Kevin?
I'm hoping for a follow-up on concerns I raised at last month's meeting.
Specifically in regards to?
Regards to the trip to Keene and coverage of private events.
Okay. We have that under old business. Should we talk about it now? All right, we can talk about it now. The chief, you weren't at our last meeting, but Deputy Galvani provided us. All right, one moment, sir. So Kevin's referring to two different.
I'm aware of what.
And I think we spoke, Deputy Galvani spoke to the coverage over at Keene. I thought he outlined that very well. They did send over, or Deputy Galvani sent over their action plan. And then all the coverage, everyone received that. I don't know if you want to add anything to that conversation. The question was, why would we go all the way to Keene? There's got to be fire departments closer than us sending a crew over there and being out of service all day. Even though the firefighters were not the ones on duty that day, but the ambulance was out of town. I don't know if you want to share what you shared, see if the chief has anything he wants to add to that.
So I spoke about the Keene one. I feel to me it's a very important function. Line of duty deaths don't happen every day, right? So when you have a line of duty death, you need to cover that station. I understand we're far from Keene. However, we shared the load, as you can see in that report. There was firefighters all the way from Berlin that went down and covered Keene, which is a lot further away than us. If this ever happens, I hope it never does, but it happens. When it happens in Tilton, Keene's going to be there for us. I can promise you that, especially after talking to them that day. It's a very important piece of being part of a fire department in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a very small fire service. There isn't a lot of fire departments to cover 48 hours of a shift, and we share that load equally when there's a line of duty death. It's not a very common occurrence. I understand the ambulance is out of town. When the ambulance goes out for service, we don't have another ambulance. It stinks. It's not good. That's why we have another ambulance on order. When we have that new ambulance come, we won't have that occur, hopefully. But it does occur regularly now, where tomorrow morning the ambulance will be out of service all day. So it does happen. I don't like the ambulance to be out of service. It does put the community at more risk because we don't have two ambulances. But it's a risk when we only have two ambulances that we have to be able to accept. This is not, like I said, covering a line of duty death is not a common occurrence. It's not like this happens once a month. And it's just very important that we partake in that. We did not take away from the duty crew on that day. It was a busy day. It was terrible. I talked to the firefighter, I talked to the captain who was working that day, and it was one of our busiest days we've had this summer. So it just couldn't have happened at a worse time, but that's just, we can't predict when those things are going to happen. But covering those line of duty deaths is a very important function, being part of the fire service community, because it will happen to us. I hate to say it, but something like this, and we're going to need that support. And if we don't provide it, we're not going to get it. It's just like mutual aid. If you don't provide it, you're not going to get it back. So that was my thoughts on the Keene.
Sure. And to add to that, I've been in the fire service for 44 years. It's basically a tradition within the fire service. It happens not only in New Hampshire, but it happens in every other state as well. It's just part of the brotherhood of the organization, firefighting. And when we're down, we need some help. People come and help. it's reciprocal.
And I think as we discussed last month, we needed coverage for an ambulance during that day. We went once from Sanford.
I can't remember the number. I don't want to. I believe it was at least once. And Sanford came and handled the call. I believe we did 17 calls that day, which is a busy day.
Does that include also when
I do not lose.
All right, so then the other side of that is the hill climb
So
detail.
the hill climb detail, similar situation. It was none of the firefighters on duty, but it was one of the ambulances out of town. And so a similar situation where we were down an ambulance for a period of time, which was one day, all day.
Yep.
And then that raised another question, which was, what happens if we transport somebody and use all of our equipment and don't get reimbursed? How do we get reimbursed for a call out there?
Imagine we handle it just like any other call. It would go through our billing system, and however that, whether they have insurance or not, whether it's Medicare or Medicaid, it would go through our normal billing system, and however it ends up in the end, it ends up in the end. We do get compensated for the employee's time while they're away. We also charge them a small fee for the ambulance for that day, and I think that's it.
Well, and I think we get a pretty good understanding that the amount we charged for the firefighters seemed appropriate to cover the cost,
Yes.
but the amount we were charging for the ambulance seemed arbitrary and not sufficient, in my
You
opinion.
get a lawnmower for about that.
Sure. It's been, ever since I've been here, we've been covering that event, and a lot of the time it wasn't for, we didn't really charge for the ambulance at all, and then we started charging a few years ago. It was just sort of like, we'll charge you something, but, we won't try to be great at the same time.
I guess I don't know, I think my thought was if we're gonna send the ambulance out there, we ought to be charging appropriate amount, assuming that we want to send the ambulance there. Next year, if we have
Next
an
year will
extra
be a different
ambulance, then
story.
maybe it's a different story, but in this case,
It's one of those things. We've done it since before I worked here. We've been covering that. So it's kind of just been. We've always covered that. So we kind of just kept covering that. When I started here, we did half the amount of calls, and so it was okay sending that second ambulance out. I think maybe there is some thought. We do need to think about. Do we not have enough ambulances to send this out for it's not the same as the Keene thing in my mind. More discussion probably needs to happen. Do we do this, continue this in the future? It's the only outside detail that we do on a yearly basis. I can't think of another outside detail we've done besides the hill climb. It's just, it's a detail we've done forever, so we kept doing it. And maybe it's time we start thinking about what details we do and what details we don't. Because we're just getting to that point where we're so busy with 2 ambulances. Before we had 2 ambulances, we were doing 1,100 calls. Now we have 2 ambulances, we're doing 2,500 calls. Maybe it's time to, do we pull back on that stuff? It's just, I don't want to say it was an afterthought because we've always done it, but we've just kind of always done it.
For lack of a better way to maybe phrase the question, who's the customer at that event? Is it
The Hill Climb
association?
organization,
Okay, so it's
whatever
not
it
the
is.
town of Guilford, it's not
No.
the.
It's not like a county.
No.
No,
I think Gunstock is the
Gunstock
actual-
is the one that hires us and pays the bill.
okay.
and we're not the only ambulance there.
No, Guilford has an ambulance there also. And Laconia, because, they would add, Laconia can't, they're so busy during bike week, they can't provide it. And I don't, we've been doing it so long, I don't know how Tilton Northfield became the ambulance that did it.
And did we transport anybody? Did we provide any services?
I really don't think at this point it's our responsibility anymore to take something out of our town that people pay for and expect.
Yeah.
to put someplace else to help them out. I mean, I can see Keene,
Mhm.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But I can't see going to Guilford, I really can't.
I can almost see if it was a hill climate, like the Northfield Ski or anything, you know, if it was at Highlands or something, it's, okay, well, it's in the district, you know?
It's like, yeah.
I think maybe my thought is if the invitation comes or the request comes next year, we bring it to the meeting and have a discussion.
So we'll have
See
to
where
know-
we're at.
We'll have to know that
Yeah, kind of.
in
Put that,
advance, so
put
we
the,
can have that
let's have
conversation.
a, you know, a dialogue.
I think
and
that's
a-
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
'Cause-
there is, you know, yeah, we do probably, you know, we're not small and slow anymore. Maybe
Yeah.
we do, you know, think about.
And we don't know where our equipment's gonna be at, we don't know what staff is gonna be looking like, and so, you know, you can't make a decision until they throw the pitch, or maybe they make other arrangements, or they'll, you know, their events could change too, but I think if we get the request, I think any of those details is something we should both have a conversation about. Not that we're the final say, but I'd rather know ahead of time than, you know, 2 months after it happened. Yeah,
Especially if the ambulance sat up there all day and didn't provide any service, and it could have if it was here in town
yeah,
to a resident.
right.
Any-
I mean, if it was a little closer, and I don't pretend to know all the details of the operation, but our ambulances seem to be in demand. Could an engine be up there with the similar equipment or enough to provide some level of care? Not that we'd be transporting, but at least, you know.
Well, if we're gonna do that, we could send a pickup truck to do that.
That's what I mean, you know what I mean? It's,
But we have done that
When we're
a
for-
while
yeah,
ago,
football
for
games.
football
yeah,
games
if
and
you have
stuff
the
like that.
detail up at the golf course or, you know.
Do we know if Guilford provided any services that day?
I do not know. I wouldn't. I could ask Deputy over tomorrow. And, are you curious, or I can?
I mean, did you know? Was there no calls at all? So both those ambulances didn't provide any services?
My
or-
gut would tell me probably if they did provide one, it would be one because they would have gone. You know, you take the first one, you take the second one, you take. So if they did provide one, it was probably one. That's a guess, though. You know, but that's typically when you have two ambulances, you rotate 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Well, the closer you get to bike week, what else is everybody else sucked into with other things going on that week,
Yeah.
right? What other resources have already been tapped in? What was Alton doing? What was, you know, was Gilmanton? Or, you know, who are the other players in the abutters? And they're already up to their eyeballs in accidents and motorcycle incidents
Well,
and
and do they keep calling us because of tradition, or do they keep calling us because we give them the best price?
yeah.
I mean, what other options do they have? All right, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin, I interrupted you.
You didn't interrupt me. So, it's a private event. We damn well should not be in the business of covering private events. All the brain power in this room, and we let our ambulance out for $100. That's really hard for me to swallow, knowing the brain power in this room. It's not our job to cover it.
Right.
It's not our responsibility to cover it. And frankly, we shouldn't give a shit if it's covered or not, because it is not our issue. We paid for those ambulances to provide an emergency service, firstly, to our residents, secondly, to the municipalities and mutual aid system in an emergency situation. I know for a fact that that event used to be covered by a private ambulance, because I worked there. That and others. It's up to them to cover their event. It's not up to us to cover it.
I'm surprised they didn't get an apartment ambulance. I never knew, I gotta be honest with you, I've never heard that.
Cost, right?
Well, there's none out there, right? So-
You know, we got reimbursed. Big deal. And I will tell you, I heard you say it should come before a meeting of the commission for stuff like that. But be careful, because that's day-to-day operations, which you are excluded from. You've got no say in the day-to-day operations. The if you want something changed, you need to find a way to influence the decision makers. But there is no reason whatsoever. We're not in this for profit. We've proven that because we cannot make a profit.
Right.
But you know what? The people that should have been covering that, guess what they do? They make a profit. I don't swallow the Brotherhood thing. I never did. That's why I'm out of this business. But and you know what? I could even say you're interfering with private enterprise. That's their business, not ours. It's not our business. No business whatsoever.
Well,
$300,000 for an ambulance, $100 a day.
The $260,000 triax is $135 an hour.
An hour,
An hour.
not a day.
Right.
It's just out of line. It's just. Look, I'm speechless. Look,
Hmm.
it ain't right. It is not right.
So if we want to affect change, we should just create a policy that we're not going to do that. If we so choose.
Do that too.
I would not be opposed to that. That would certainly give them plenty of time for us to notify them that we would be available for next year. If we chose to do that.
Yeah,
That's day-to-day operations.
that'd be a section
Yeah.
20 policy
Yeah.
Careful.
on 154.
Gotta be careful. If you guys don't learn any other line, learn that line and learn how to walk it. Because do not step over that line. I've seen it happen. It's not pretty. It is not pretty.
So is the only thing we can do is suggest to the chief that we're not in support of that type of function?
That would be appropriate.
What do we create a pricing?
You could also
Strategy.
create a pricing strategy,
That puts it out
or
there.
suggest a pricing strategy.
You can set the rate.
You do set the rates. You set all our rates.
I'd rather not do it.
Exactly.
Rates to do it.
Because I don't want to hang a shingle out saying, hey, we're in the detail.
Make the
business.
rate so no one will pay it.
And I think we could have an open discussion. I think I tend to lean towards why are we doing it now? Like, it made sense 10 years ago. It probably doesn't make sense anymore. It's not,
Yeah.
this isn't, I mean, I don't want to, get into what's operational.
Yeah,
It's
I
not,
don't want to micro that.
Yeah, and, but I mean, I think it's, it's,
Well, I think the other thing is the precedence that, we haven't got the staff to cover the local football games.
Yeah.
For our local kids.
yeah.
Well, and what happens if you have one call that you couldn't respond to timely and things went bad?
Or the commitment is made to that event, and A1's in the shop and A2 needs to stay here to run the business.
That would never happen.
You know what I mean?
But,
Yeah. You know what I mean? What happens if we're down to we've got
They'd be out of tough luck.
exactly.
But again,
Right. But it hurts them. Say, hey, listen, we know we said we would, but we're down to one ambulance, so sorry. You
That
know?
has happened before.
Yeah, that's then what do they do?
and I think like Kevin said, it's not really our problem.
Yeah,
What do they do?
exactly.
Okay.
Healthy discussion.
Yeah. Any other public comment? Yes, Kevin.
Raise my left hand this time. Oh, that's uncommon for me to be able to do that with that shoulder. Is it, I have some concerns with, I think I saw a building plan. I mean, as you know, I sit on that committee. And it's, well, you sit there too, right across from that smile, just like you got right now. So they come up with I'm sure you're going to get into this, but they come up with a couple of plans. And I asked the question at that meeting, who at this table is going to vote yes on this at the district meeting? I don't believe half will. Probably, I don't think 2/3 will. And I asked you the question, are you gonna present whatever we come up with to the public? And stand up in front of that crowd and say, this is a great idea? And I know you were the only one there, so you can't answer. So I don't know what, is that the intention of the board? So whatever the committee comes up with, that's what's going to the public?
Well,
I have no idea what it is.
Me neither, because I haven't barely,
I
this is the
haven't.
first I've seen the drawing, so I,
So my thought is that what the building committee comes up with, then will be presented to the commissioners, and then we can review, discuss, and decide how we want to move forward with it.
because I know there's work went into it, and there's questions I'd have, Paul would have, and why is this, and is this a good reason why, or did you back out of it and why, and what did you not do and why, and, you know, I don't want to come in and just blow everybody else's work. I got questions, and I want to know if, you know, how deep a dive was it, because I saw it happen with the Tilton Police Building. I went through a lot of iterations before, you know, the structure that's there that made it to be there. So, you know,
So my, just some additional follow-up. What we've given you is the 2 floor plans that the committee
the two,
approved.
yeah.
And we have started talking about having Lorero firm up some pricing.
Mm-hmm.
They've given us some basic pricing on Sanborn Road. I don't think they've got the Park Street pricing together yet. But that's, I don't know the right verbiage to use, that's pricing without actually going out and getting somebody to commit to the pricing. And my thought would be, then the other thing, we need that along with some rendering so we can start doing our public outreach. But once we have those pieces, I would think it would be appropriate for the commissioners to have the meeting with the building committee so that we can share, you know, how we've gotten to where we're at, and you can ask those type of questions. The building committee's next meeting is 20.
Can we add one? We added one.
You added one, you have one next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday,
A week from today, I think.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hopefully, Lorero had seemed to be like they were willing to try to get things done for us before the next meeting. So next Tuesday I would know better where we're at with the information so that we can potentially schedule another commissioners meeting with the building committee so we can have that type of dialogue. Is that fair to say?
I want you to know from my personal perspective, I really want to stay engaged. It's becoming increasingly difficult with decisions being made. It really is. And it's not a person alive who wants out of Center Street more than I do. It's just becoming, you know, my thought process is different than a lot of people's. I get that, everyone gets that. But, and I said, I'm engaged, I'll stay engaged, it's gotta make sense though. So I'm struggling on a personal level with remaining engaged and being productive.
And I think the next two meetings of the building committee will be very very important.
You've never said anything I agree with. Even maybe the next 3.
All right, so get between the lines. Do you support this plan, or is it not?
If that goes to the public, you lost me.
Oh,
And I told the chief this the other night, I don't want to be that guy that stands up in front of the people and say, good idea, but no, I don't want that.
well,
I'm looking for a yes vote.
right.
That's what,
And what is, what would change on that to get to a yes vote?
well, I forget the name, I know the name of the road.
Sanborn.
Sanborn Road,
Yeah.
there's 6 bays, 6 doors. 3 bays, double deep, 3 doors. I know all the, because I listen, right?
Mhm.
But that makes a difference. And 3-bay versus 2 cost now versus whenever the hell it might happen.
We're looking at 3 bays, double deep on Sanborn Road?
With 6 doors.
They have doors on both sides.
Yeah.
The committee went back and forth quite a lot on whether we were going to have 4 bays there or 6 bays there.
So the size is the same, it's the fact that there's 3 extra doors.
Well, and the committee decided to go with the 6 bays for now, but we have 6 doors. And what Kevin is suggesting is,
If there was 3 less doors, is the space,
yeah,
adequate?
they're just backed in. You
The
see,
doors don't change the floor plan.
Right, that's what I'm asking. So if it, what's the difference between
the
6
cost of 3 doors.
3 doors? Other than that, it's 3 bays across, double deep,
Correct.
Or it's 2 bays
double deep.
with provisions for a third.
I knew the guy that a couple months ago that this space wasn't a big deal because it's the cheapest to manufacture.
It is the cheapest,
Yeah.
but the price that they threw was,
Very high.
Yeah.
yeah, it was
It
ridiculous.
didn't seem to correspond with the rest of the building.
No,
And that's why I
because
guess I'd want to get into the numbers.
this section A where we live and work and function
Yeah,
costs this much per foot, which is way more in reality than the floor.
Hmm.
But the 2 prices they threw were too close together to make any sense to me.
right.
So,
So we're,
You know.
we're sort of waiting to see how the pricing gets
Yeah,
tweaked out.
Because
It didn't seem appropriate.
floor plan wise doesn't, this is almost, I'm not gonna mention his name because it's not appropriate, but we had this conversation over at the prep school thing about, doors on both ends. And I remember him, and I'm not gonna say who it was, but there was an argument about, 3 extra doors, that's, when you get into a $5 million building, 3 doors is not,
Well,
You know what I mean?
we had a conversation about the bathroom.
yeah.
It's like, the project's not going to win or lose on having this one extra bathroom, but it's the thought.
We went down the road on tile floor versus epoxy. I wanted a 25 or 30 year like epoxy, and they were like, "Oh no, it's got to be ceramic tile. Ceramic tile's less." And I'm like,
We're doing less than that.
"Yeah, that's
Cement.
yeah." No, I mean for the bathroom, the shower, and the locker room, just
the
spray it. No grout lines, no nothing. Just
the deeper we go, the more
yeah.
rules
Well, thank
and regulations and just, you know what I want to say. We got to do this, we got to do that. Now we got to lock ourselves in the shower.
There's a reason for that, Kevin.
Hmm?
There's a reason for that.
I'm sure there is.
Sure, there is.
You have to have locks on the shower stalls. If you have a woman as an employee, as a firefighter, they have to be able to be separated, the men and the women. You can't have them have curtains hanging and have a man in one shower stall and a woman in the other. No. You're looking at a humongous HR issue. So that's why you have to have the doors.
There's those kind of reasons for everything.
There is.
We had that again. PD had to process juvenile separate from adults, and holding had to be separate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of circles and arrows.
And honestly, I still struggle
Yeah.
with tearing down 5,000 square feet perfectly functioning. So I'm saying it's functioning space to build 5,000 new square feet of functioning space.
At Park Street.
I get it. It don't meet code. Okay. Guess what? A lot of stuff doesn't meet code. It doesn't have to. But we'll mush that. We'll spend millions to replace that. It don't make any sense to me. Because it functions. And I just heard Sean say we got the exercise equipment we got works. It works. We use it. There's little things like that when you look at them in a broad scope, and when you say X number, if you say 15 million really quick, it don't hurt much.
bet you're looking at $150
Oh, I know it
million.
is.
I bet you're looking at close to $30 million.
It's a lot of money,
25,
and we don't know what it is. I don't think it's 30, but it's a lot of money.
I bet it's around 25.
And I need to know in my head, and then my little heart, that we've done all we can to get all we can get for the least we can pay for it. Do the best we can.
It's gotta be sold. You said it earlier. You gotta learn to say yes. And I understand that bathrooms don't cost much and you separate it. But wait a minute.
But 7 do.
4 guys, 7 bathrooms. They all get 2.5 or 1.5 bathrooms. No, you people haven't done your work. You know, I understand there's regulations, the whole bit, but it comes down to what's sellable. And 4 guys, 7 bathrooms, and I realize there's people in and out. There are other people.
With the requirement for a supermajority vote, one person with 20 followers will either get you it or it'll tank it. Because these things are that close. We've seen it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 votes.
So we have, hopefully we'll have a lot more input from Lorero for next week's meeting.
Yes, I had, I just wanted that part of the meeting. I had 2 Teams meetings with them today. One in the morning, which Paul Blaisdell attended as well, with the architect, and the discussion of that meeting was mostly about roof lines, roof drainage, counter materials, hose beds, where they're going to go within the building, eye wash stations, that kind of stuff. The afternoon meeting was with the civil engineer, and that meeting was mostly about site drainage for both locations, parking at both locations, and utilities. And for both of these, they hope to have, hopefully by the end of the week, drawings that will show us elevations with the updated everything, and a site map. And we have the floor plans, basically. I know they're tweaking, they said might move one of these walls 8 inches or something to make something fit right, or something like that. That's the architect's.
A wall.
Yeah. It'll still be there, it just might be, instead of here, it's gonna be here, or something like that. I don't care about that. As long as the function now remains the same.
So we have a meeting next week, Tuesday, and then I think it's the following Monday.
That is
Mhm.
correct.
Yes. So we should have a lot to discuss. Hopefully we'll have all the materials to be able to do that. Pricing, they're working on the pricing now, and they hope to have more firmer prices in 2 to 3 weeks. They're not gonna, this overview of what I've given you about Sanborn Road, he says that's a general overview, pricing without going out for pricing. They're not gonna do that for Park Street now because they're trying to get the real pricing. So we won't have anything for Park Street because when they started to do something for Park Street, we changed a lot. We changed from a 2-story to a single story, took a single story, shrunk it down even more. So he says, if you wanted to take a square footage price and just do it that way, that's all I would give you right now. But it wouldn't be,
Right.
what a real price would be.
So, I hope to call another meeting for the commissioners with the building committee, probably before our next meeting.
Right.
Which may be at the first September meeting that the building committee already has scheduled. Maybe we'll make that a commissioners meeting. But
This is a blue one.
all right, anything else on the building? Anything else from the public?
I got no more hands to raise. I've used them both.
All right. Any other questions on building committee? It seems that we did that sort of out of order.
Yeah, that's okay. I have a cut and paste.
All right, I'm gonna move on.
So before you do, your next meeting is September 7th, 9th. The fire station building committee is meeting on the 2nd.
I don't know, that would be the next meeting,
Right,
but they'll have to decide that.
yeah, because the 1st is Labor Day.
All right. Can I move, is it okay to move on?
Where are you moving from? Are we on 6 or 7?
We're gonna go to correspondence.
Okay.
We're gonna go to 8. Let's do it. 6.
So in your packet, there is the letter from,
Burdenberg, NOK.
And the one.
do we need to talk about that anymore?
No. It's just there to say that you got the letter for the recognition of
Okay.
exceptional service. And then there's also a letter from Tim Pearson.
Okay. So acknowledge that we received the recognition for exceptional service letter from Freudenberg and their generous donation. We thank them very much. Somebody write them out. All right, thank you. All right, the next item on that list is the letter from Tim Pearson. So as you gather, he's moving out of the district, so he's surrendering his position as our treasurer.
Yes, the last date. He will be living in Belmont effective the 26th, so the 25th is his last day.
That's concerning because obviously the treasurer has to be a member of the community.
Yes. It's an elected position.
Yep.
Kind of like the moderator.
Yep.
So do we appoint somebody for the rest of the term?
Yes. The board does.
Until the next election.
Right.
And the treasurer is a 2-year term?
Yes.
And are we in the first year or second year of this term?
26 would be voting again. Anyways. Tim did recommend contacting the treasurer and the deputy treasurer for the town to see if they'd be interested in filling in for the rest of the term.
This is on Northfield. Who handles those?
I don't know.
You know who the treasurer is over in Northfield?
It used to be Roland Seymour, but I don't know if he still is or
I
not.
think he is anymore.
No, I don't remember.
If Roland was our treasurer before Tim.
Right.
What's really involved in doing it? What do you get beyond signing the checks?
Just make sure that the books are correct.
Clerk and balances.
Yeah.
I mean, because we get to a district meeting and Tim would have all kinds of, you know, like we get a tax rate information, you know, just the bond business and.
Still says Roland.
Oh, does it?
I didn't think it that way, but.
So, but yeah.
To
I-
fulfill
I-
the slot, it's the checks and the books, right?
Yes.
Right, you know, to make sure that I need someone to sign the checks.
Yep.
As you know, Tim gave me an electronic signature so that the payroll and all the accounts payables checks, they could be signed, and then you know,
You get validate and.
validate and all of that.
Yeah.
It saved a lot of time.
Yeah.
So that brings up another point. Right now, none of the commissioners are signers on the checking accounts. So you would, I would need you, I'll have to set it up with Tim so that you can go to the bank and become signers on those accounts.
Oh,
And then if one of you would say, yeah, I'll be the signer for the checks, then it would be business as usual until, you know.
for the vote. Yeah. I know I couldn't sign them all, so I Probably not the guy.
Well, a lot of the signatures are electronic. And, you know, Tim did a different signature for the electronic signatures than he does for his normal signature.
Hmm.
His normal signature is what he signed the letter with. The one for the electronic is just first initial, middle initial, and last name. So that he knew exactly.
That's how you
okay,
could tell.
That's how he could
Yeah.
tell
Hmm.
where it came from. So, and then, of course, finding the treasurer.
What's your flexibility during the week to sign checks?
I can't leave there, I mean, I can't leave, except for Friday, Fridays I don't work, so. The day I could do is Friday.
Well, I have flexibility, but I can do it, I guess.
Should we even be doing that, given that we sign the manifest and the checks and balances?
Well, we shouldn't, but
Well, until you appoint
Until
a
we get
new
somebody
treasurer,
appointed.
you
One
have
of,
to submit.
one of you has to sign,
Uh,
so.
That's in the RSA as
Yeah.
well.
and what are the fine print about assigning a treasurer?
You can advertise if you wish, or you can contact and ask people. They just cannot be, you know, like a clerk or the commissioner or that
They
position.
have to be a resident of
the district.
Yes, they do have to.
And we only have 12 days to do this.
You do what almost as soon as I did.
You don't think maybe Ken Finmore?
No.
I mean, it's an easy job.
Well, do we contact the two treasurers that Tim suggested?
I would start there,
Yes, I would start
you know,
there.
because they come recommended.
Yes,
All right. Is it something I need to do, or?
I can make a phone call.
Okay.
I'll get contact information from Tim and say, hey,
Well, if that doesn't work, then we'll post it.
yes,
Yeah.
sounds good.
And in the meantime, I'll have to coordinate with Tim to get to the bank.
Yes, please.
So is it okay if I do that?
That's I'm fine with that.
Okay.
We have to make a motion.
Probably.
Well, according to the bylaws that were written years ago, Kevin,
Sure was a long time ago if I was involved.
each of the commissioners is supposed to be an authorized signer on their terms, according to the bylaws. In addition to the treasurer.
When was the last time that happened?
2009, thereabouts.
Were you authorized signer when you were a commissioner?
I believe I was. I know I wasn't necessarily.
The last one was Paul Blaisdell.
Does it not allow, the bylaws not allow for the board to, to have one with the board vote?
Yes, they can. I believe so.
What?
That,
A long time ago, but I don't remember yesterday, but I knew that.
it was 2009.
Yeah, I remember. I still got the books. So I think the two, you can vote as a board to have one, I think. But it was all three at one point.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve having me sign.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
All those opposed? I will get with Tim to figure out a time we can do that.
Who is our bank?
Franklin
Franklin
Savings.
Savings.
Franklin Savings.
All right. Any other thoughts on that? Right, building committee, discuss Park Street land options.
Yes, so the commissioners should have a discussion with the Northfield Select Board about getting an easement on Park Street of some of their DPW property so that can maintain access and egress from these side bays. Because that's how we go now, and the building is pretty much situated in the same spot, because we can't move further that way. And it would just protect us in the future if the town were to sell the property, we would still have an easement to be able to use it. The other option you could do, well, there's actually two of them, you could buy the property, which I don't think they would want to sell it because it's also their access. And thirdly, you could do a land swap, which they might want to discuss, I don't know. Because this property by their salt shed that we don't use, that they're more likely to use, and we're not likely to use in exchange for an easement over here. So those are kind of the three options that I kind of came up with. But if when this passes, we want to have a guaranteed ability to have ingress and egress from that side of the building.
This is the front,
Yep.
this is where they pack,
Yep.
and you want,
So you know where the island is in
Yeah.
front of the station?
Yep.
You know
Yep.
how we all
yep,
go? Well, anything past the island belongs to the town of Northfield.
Property line's pretty tight.
It's right, it's kind of like right on the island's edge. And so we use it every single day. But in the event that, say, maybe 30 years down the road, they want to move everything to Johnson Road for whatever reason, and they want to sell that property, the new owner, if we didn't have an easement, put a fence up, and then we can't use this. Would block our access and egress. So that's what we should be doing.
Well, I agree that we should do that, I'm just not sure, we should, I'd like to be a little farther ahead on the plans. But,
Well, at least have the discussion so that
Yeah.
when we get to that point where it has to happen, it's not a surprise to everybody.
Northfield Selectmen meet on the first and third Tuesdays.
Yep, probably wouldn't mind to check in anyway, just
Yeah.
on things in
Can
general.
you see if we can get on their agenda for September?
Okay. Yes, I can do that. I will contact
Tuesdays now? Tuesdays?
yeah, Tuesday.
What time do their meetings usually start?
5:30.
So the 16th, the first and third, so the 16th would be better because we have a building committee meeting on the 2nd.
So 16th maybe? We'd like to give an update, where we're at, so with the building committee. And talk specifically about what we're envisioning at Park Street and how it impacts, or how
5 p.m.
5 p.m. and how, we want to be good neighbors and make the. I talk about the continued use of access through their driveway.
Does that just go straight down, or does it?
Go straight. 250 feet.
And sometimes it's interesting, you think like, where there's a seam in the pavement, that must be where the line is, but it's not.
Our property goes deep into the DPW, what you think is the DPW property, that corner is, it's out there pretty good.
If I remember correctly, when they put the salt shed up, they had to get our permission because it's basically on the line, right? So I
Right.
think that salt shed is the line.
Because we own the little valley, and it's right
I think there used to be a dump up there at one time.
there. Yes, it was.
Yes, yep, that was in the environmental study.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on the Park Street land? All right, let's go to the chief's report.
What's included in your handout. Feel like I can go through it?
Okay.
I don't remember if I mailed it out or not.
I didn't see it.
That's
Thanks,
why-
Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. That's why I will go through it. First part is the budget. We're 58% through the fiscal year, and we're almost at that number of spending. We're at the 7.6% expenditure.
We still have a firefighter out that we're covering with overtime,
Till September.
and I noticed the salary lines are more than 58% expended. What is your thought for the rest of the year?
Well,
Will we end up overexpending those? And
I will do everything I can to not overspend the budget, as I always do.
Well, I was just concerned because we're 58% of the way through the budget, and we spent 58% of the budget. And so
It's,
you have fewer months to. I'm sorry, keep going.
okay.
I'm just concerned.
As am I, as you know, I always am, and I keep a careful eye on it, and when I feel we need to make specific actions to curb spending, we do. Total Atlas Improvement Fund balance through July 31st is $1,609,985.14. This number may be wrong because I think I took this number before it was updated. But revenue collection through July is $361,223.96, which is $26,000 and change more than at the same time last year. We didn't use any hydrants in July. Fire prevention report, we did 40 fire prevention inspections. That handout is included in your packet. For the incident reports, we had 206 incidents for the month. 145 of those were EMS in nature, which is 70% of our call volume. The engine went out on 65 of those. Overlapping simultaneous incidents, we had 120 for the month. 58% of our call volume was overlapping last month. We received 3 mutual aid ambulance responses and 2 were transported. We responded with 3 and 2 were transported, so we balanced out there. We received 7 mutual aid engine responses and responded with our engine 11 times to mutual aid. Any questions on that so far? Good. Apparatus, 21 ladder 1, the door and airline inlet were repaired. The ladder's PM was completed, and the right rear compartment was altered to accept our new battery-operated hydraulic rescue tools on the slide-out tray, all mounted, and came out pretty good. 21 Tanker 1 is just returned from the Lakes region for its PM and its repairs, and the rest of the vehicles are in line to get their annual PMs.
What did the tanker need for repairs?
Well, the light bar was intermittent. They could not reproduce that intermittent problem. There was a couple little air leaks that had to be taken care of, and the AC was not working, and then it was the regular PM.
There's also an axle leak in the rear.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
Axle leak, yeah,
Sealed.
one of the rear, I can't remember, I think it was the forward rear axle.
So all that's taken care of. Let's see. Website, that's nothing new there. The grant for the radio stuff is in progress. We're waiting for the fiber optic line to be installed from the new hotel to the police station. That should happen sometime near the end of September. Once that's in, the radio company can complete all the work on that grant. Did we receive the checks yet?
Yes.
Okay, so we've had some, for any of our expenses so far in this grant, we've submitted for reimbursement and we have received reimbursement for our expenses.
And there's a connection to the police department that the town doesn't want to pay for.
That's right.
Still, okay.
I was able to negotiate further with the provider
Oh,
and did much better.
okay.
It's still not great,
Right.
but it's much better than what they originally had. The parking lot at Center Street was, the town assessed that whole area,
Yeah.
and the assessor found that we own 6 more parking spots than we currently thought we did.
Yeah.
So there's a little more land to the left of the building than what we originally thought. Still a parking issue there. They're not going to address the issue any further because since we actually own more than what they thought and what we thought, they're not going to take 4 spaces away to provide rear access. He said we could figure it out.
wasn't there some additional conversation about the privately owned section was maybe roped off larger than what they actually own?
That's what they thought, but it's actually roped off appropriately.
Ah,
Well, maybe near the end on the far side, has railroad property roped off. That doesn't belong to him, the owner of that building, but we don't own it.
right.
Neither does the town.
Well, so technically, I think behind the station where we park, we're probably parking on railroad property there a little bit.
We are, but we have an easement for that. Sean found that.
Yep, that was an old easement, but it's there.
For the whole.
For the, for the behind,
whole-
I think it's like 2 pieces, yeah. We have an easement to use that property.
Nice.
Going on to personnel, Dan Leathers has completed the Supervisor Academy at Primex. That's good. We hired Mark Magoon as a call firefighter. We had 2 applications in process, and I think he just offered a job today to.
He'll be offering tomorrow. I just wanted to
Okay.
I did some further reference checks today, and they came back excellent.
Good.
Exactly how we thought they were going to come
Yep.
back. And then the other one was a no call, no show for interview, so we've pushed that one aside.
Okay. And again, I'm still working on the intermunicipal agreement with Northfield concerning the vehicles. I contacted the administrative assistant over there again, and she's waiting on something from somebody else.
Okay.
Still working on succession plan training opportunities for our younger fire officers and other firefighters looking to advance in their career. Again, still working with Lorero Construction on the building committee and the fire station. That seems to be taking up a lot of my time right now. And of course, the ambulance cost study, SB 245 was signed into law on the last day of July. I happened to be at the ceremony. I was invited by the governor to be there, and I was standing right beside her when she signed it, and she handed me one of the pens, so that was pretty cool.
Cool.
I was recognized by her and some of the other speakers there. I spoke as well. Nice little event.
Good.
And And that completes my report.
So if you, understand just a condensed version of all the laws that have been passed and how they will affect us.
Okay, so all the laws that are gonna affect us?
Well, in the past year, I mean, there's ones you've been working on.
The ambulance legislation, so there were several ambulance legislation bills.
Right.
Some by the Senate, some by the House. Through the legislative process, hearings and stuff like that, some of them get ITL'd. That means they get put to the side, they're not inexpedient to legislate, is what they mean. So there's enough people in the room to say, this is stupid, or we don't like this, we're not gonna even consider it any further. The other ones we have hearings on, and some of them are in the Senate side, some are in the House committee side, and I attended and spoke at all those hearings as well. And in the end, it came down to the Senate Bill 245, which was a compromise, it was an entirely rewrite, and it was a compromise between the House and the Senate leaders came up with the language for 245. And what 245 allows us to do, allows everything, what happens is that starting January 1st, any private insurance carrier within the state, if you transport somebody that has private insurance, they have to pay 325% of the Medicare payment rate for that incident. So whether it's ALS, a DLS, ALS2, specialty care transport, mileage, it's all 325% of any of those things that happen. What also we can do is we can charge for treat, no transport, and that went into effect a little bit ago. And so, but only for private insurance companies and Medicaid. Medicare, we cannot treat without transport. We could treat them, but we can't charge them. So that's a new thing that we're going to have to do. And the Medicare rate for treat, no transport is just under $100. It's like $96 and change. So that's a new process for us that we have to go through and become familiar with, so that we have to collect appropriate information so that the Medicaid system can be built for that. Again, for private insurance companies, we can do that as well. So private insurance companies comprise about 20% of our call volume. The rest of our call volume, 80%, is either Medicaid or Medicare. So, and most of that is Medicare. But given all that, there's going to be a 2-year study starting January 1st for 2 years. And within that 2-year study, the Department of Insurance is going to do a cost study of what it costs to operate an ambulance service. And that's where the meat really is, because we have to, the New Hampshire Association of Fire Chiefs and others have to keep a close watch on how the statisticians compiling those costs, making sure that all the costs associated with providing that ambulance service. And I'll give you an example. Say the town of Guilford, they run an ambulance service. It costs more than what it is just in the fire department budget. There's like HR costs. Well, the fire department in Guilford doesn't have HR. It's handled by the town. There's other aspects of the town. The payroll processing is handled by the town. So you have to make sure that those costs are included in the cost of providing that ambulance service when you submit your numbers on this survey that will come out. So and in the last survey they did something that, a statistical rule where they did cost analysis averaging. And what that did for the entire state, they ended up only using Manchester's and Nashua's numbers because they had the most amount of transports. And so for services like Tilton, Lockfield, or Guilford, or even Laconia, those numbers didn't even matter. And what's worse, it didn't even matter for a lot of smaller, really super rural communities that are running ambulance services that cost them money. didn't matter because it cost much more to run a rural ambulance service or a super rural ambulance service than it does in the city, because you don't have volume, but you still have those costs. And they negated a lot of that. So these are the things that, in the study, that we really have to watch and make sure. We talked to the governor about it, and she's gonna keep an eye on it. She's on our side in this, and she's watching the insurance commissioner very closely in how this is conducted to make sure that we don't come out in 2 years and they say, oh yeah, instead of 325, we're gonna pay you 200%.
So, we'll be getting more revenue, but those calls are a small percentage of volume.
Yes, so when I did an analysis of what I think our increase in revenue would be, it's probably about $30,000 more than what we would be getting otherwise.
And then we also have the benefit that the insurance companies are paying us directly.
Yes, so a lot of what we do at the end of these meetings will probably go away. But what people still have to realize is that if they're taken by the ambulance and they have private insurance, they're still responsible for co-pays, co-insurances, or deductibles. That is not covered. That's part of their contract with their private insurance provider. So those bills will still go out. So it's not true balance billing, but there's still some billing that will be happening.
So, the accident up here on the highway the other day, will we be able to bill for some of our services?
Yes.
Yes, I believe we should be able to send it.
We'll get that.
All right, well, thank you. Well, thank you for all your work on it. All right, any questions on the chief's report? Any questions on any of the fire prevention report? Given
No, we're just wrapping up 3 very large projects. The hotels, U-Haul, and the tech center are all right now. The U-Haul we did last week, and I did a lot of I was at the hotel for 8 hours last week. I'm going to be at the hotel for probably 6 to 7 hours tomorrow. Just wrapping up there. I'm probably back again Friday. I don't know for how long, and we're trying to get them open for Friday. Whatever. Anyway,
the hotel?
the hotel. We'll see. We got a long way to go and a lot of stuff to do. U-Haul is almost done, and the tech center's Thursday. I'll be at the tech center for probably 4 or 5 hours on Thursday.
They're almost done?
The tech center's going to be open. I was there the other day for a preliminary. They're pretty much ready.
U-Haul looks pretty buttoned up.
Yep, U-Haul. Yeah, we issued them a temp CO. The town, I don't know if because the elevator was broken. That doesn't matter to us, but the elevator's not broken. It wasn't inspected. So I don't know if the town issued them a temp CO or not. The CO actually comes from the town. They won't issue it without my report.
Nice.
And then everybody else is gearing up. I just put them in today. There's 11, 19, with 23 new units going in behind Walmart. Kearsarge Lane, they poured.
In that neighborhood behind Walmart?
Yeah.
They're adding that many more?
Yep. And then Kearsarge Lane or Kearsarge Lane. I think we talked about it before. They have the I believe it's 44 new units, and they're pouring concrete. The foundations are in for 2 of the buildings. So it's
Moving right along.
Yeah, moving right along. Still a lot going on. And I saw a sign for Wallace Products. I haven't seen any plans, but so that's the truss factory behind Bell. So it's coming.
I asked Matt, if his information on Wallace, and he doesn't know if they're going to build the truss factory or the apartment stores. But in the process, they said they needed to build the apartments first to make it economically viable to build the truss factory. So, but that's up to them.
In the distribution center, I
Oh.
approved the site plans and the fire prevention plan, the fire protection plans the other day. The life safety portion of it. But, so I'm assuming they're going to be breaking ground on the distribution center very short.
Where's that going?
This is Park Drive,
Okay.
on both sides of the road.
Yeah, trying to move on that.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of good things happening. All right, anything else on the chief's report? Then let's move to old business, fire station, finance committee, and marketing committee. Just reiterate that we're trying to get the information so we can start working on those. So hopefully in the next 3-4 weeks we'll be,
We should have
everything we need to get.
hopefully all the information we need to move forward with those, yeah.
Right, Park Street drainage repair.
So that's, we have it scheduled right now for August 23rd. It's a Saturday, we're gonna do a work detail. It's all based on whether we can get the excavator there. Right now, it looks like we can. We have permission to use the excavator. It's one of our call members, it's the company he works for. It's the excavator he uses every day. It's been down in Massachusetts. So he couldn't really get it up here for the weekend, but, so cross fingers, it looks like it's gonna be the 23rd. We're gonna cut back, we're gonna put the, I call it riprap, what is it called, the drainage?
Yeah.
The drainage rock where that is, and then we're gonna dig down, and then we're also gonna do underneath the Park Street shed overhang that day, put a membrane down, and then put stone so we can store the plow there. Yeah, so that should happen August 23rd, hopefully. That's the plan right now anyway.
Did I cut you off there, Jason? Okay. All right, any other questions on the Park Street drainage? I'm gonna keep moving right along here. We already talked about the motorcycle hill climb.
I'm taking that out.
Pardon me?
I'm leaving that in effective.
All right, new business.
We can take away the first one.
All right,
You discussed it
municipal surplus items.
All right, I have 4 items that we had on municipal that we got bids on and they've closed and we need your permission. The first is the 2005 Scotty Fire Safety Trailer. We got a bid of $2,600 from a gentleman in Pennsylvania. So I just need your vote to allow
I
us
make
to.
a motion to accept the bid on the fire garage trailer.
I'll second it.
What's the bid? I didn't see.
The bid was $2,600. That each one of those is a different bid and then it goes up.
You have a couple bidders?
Yeah, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different names on here. 2,600 is going to Pennsylvania.
Is it roadworthy? Is it gonna make it?
He had me take a picture of the tires. He's going to bring spare tires up and all that stuff. He asked us if I could hold on to it for a week because he's got a fair. I said that shouldn't be a problem.
Make it into a food truck or something?
I kind of asked that. He didn't really have a. I don't know.
Say
If,
it fair, you know, he's busy with it.
yeah.
It's gonna have to fix the bees.
I just see it as could be that or a tiny house or something.
15,000-pound trailer. You can do a lot with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's gonna sell fried dough on one end and
Bees.
on the other. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
I have 3 other items. I don't know if you want to do them all at once. I can tell you. We have a Milwaukee rescue saw that we haven't used in many years. That was a high bid of $180. I have a gas-powered ventilation fan Honda that we haven't used in, again, many years. That was for $110. And a Honda portable generator that we haven't used since, I think 15 years. We had a high bid of $151. So I have those 3 items that we were also listed on municipal bid.
Make a motion to accept the final bids on those items.
All right, Paul seconds that. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 And I plan next month to have some other surplus items, the old rescue tools, some other stuff. Hopefully I'll have for you next month.
Perfect, thank you. All right, review minutes. Did you give us the minutes?
I gave you the non-public, I did not give copies of the public.
He emailed them out a long time ago.
Yeah, I read them. I think I have them here.
Didn't come with a name much last though.
Well, as long as I take these off, I can see them.
There you go.
July 14th.
I remember reading this one. There was any issues. You prepared to vote on those minutes if we don't have copies?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So, accept a motion.
I make a motion to accept the meeting, the minute meetings of 7/14/25. As written.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Kathy handed you the non-public. I don't know that we need to seal them.
Okay.
All right, so someone want to make a motion on the non-public session one minutes?
I'll make a motion on on the meeting, non-public session, 07/14/25, session 1.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'll make a motion on non-public session 2, 07/14/25. Is
Second.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, review and sign manifest. We have a bunch of them. Did you give me the non-public?
I did. I didn't give them to you yet.
I just gave them that, so.
I just gave you the minutes. I didn't.
What do we do? Hand them back in?
Doesn't matter, because they're not.
Yeah, we're
They're
not
not
sealing them.
sealed, so it's up to you. So,
We don't have any manifests. I mean, we don't have any.
we do not, I did not receive the disposition reports.
Is that the
prior.
first one?
That is the first one, so that one can go away. Oh, wait a minute, what was the first one?
C.
Yeah, that's the one that can go away.
And what is I?
That's L,
What is L?
that's legal.
Oh, okay.
And then you'll want to do this. Then you'll need those two as well.
All right. All right, we're gonna go into non-public. Need a motion to enter non-public.
I'll make a motion on non-public.
Seconded by,
Jason.
Time.
enter non-public at
7:06.
7:06. RSA 91-A:3. LL.
Yes.
Consideration of legal advice provided by legal counsel either in writing or orally to one or more members of the public body, even where legal counsel is not present. Roll call vote to enter non-public session. Paul Ogier,
Yes.
Tim Sattler, yes. Jason Wright.
Yes.
Okay, stop the recorder.
All right, working.
Okay, we're coming out of non-public at 7:14 p.m. Motion to leave non-public made by Jason, seconded by Paul. Roll call vote. Paul Ogier.
Yes.
Tim Sattler, yes. Jason Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes. Motion to seal the minutes. Yes. Motion was made by Jason, seconded by Tim. For the reason render of opposed action ineffective. Roll call vote to seal the minutes. Paul Ogier.
Yes.
Tim Sattler, yes. Jason Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay. Motion to go into non-public for reason RSA 91-A:3. A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee or the discipline of such employee or the investigation of any charges against him or her unless the employee affected, 1, has the right to a public meeting, and 2, request that the meeting be open in which case the request shall be granted. Motion to enter non-public made by
I'll make a motion.
Paul, seconded by
Jason.
Jason. Roll call vote to enter non-public. Paul Ogier.
Yes.
Tim Sattler, yes. Jason Wright.
Yes.
And we're going into non-public at 7:19 p.m. All right, so motion to come out of non-public made by Jason, seconded by Paul at 7:38 p.m. Roll call vote. Paul Ogier.
Yes.
Tim Sattler, yes. Jason Wright.
Yes.
Motion passes. I don't think we need a motion to seal the minutes. And we are out of non-public. I don't think we need to go into non-public again. All right, is there any other business?
Yes.
Oh,
This false alarm billing policy?
That.
I just wanted to have that in case
Oh.
that was part of the earlier discussion.
Okay.
You had mentioned getting together, reading the contract and then getting together to make decisions, so you should probably pick a date. Because I'll have to reserve someplace and for you. Sorry.
Yeah. Why don't we wait and see how fast the lawyers can,
Okay,
and once we know that, then we can get together.
okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Because your next meeting is September 9th.
Yeah, we'll probably have to meet before then.
Okay.
Right, any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn, seconded by
I'll say that.
all. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It is 7:40 p.m.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.